Oi, tudo bem? Hi, my name is Abay. ¿Qué tal? What's going on, everybody? Well, listen here. So I got something I gotta tell you. We got something in the works because, well, not really tell you, but show you with some science. So basically, I was born in the United States. But let me tell you a little bit about my background and what I know. So my mother was born in Brazil. And in Brazil, you could be probably European, you can probably be indigenous, you could be African, and all these different mixtures of people is kind of what makes Brazil very unique. It's a pretty mixed country. There's even some people from the Middle East, some people from Asia, and especially a lot of populated places like Sao Paulo. You're going to see a lot of people from other countries as well, and a lot of people also immigrate to Brazil, especially in those high density populated cities like Sao Paulo. I'm going to figure out, what am I on my mom's side, because that's what I'm most curious about. There's also another part, my father's side. So my father was born in Cuba, right? So I have a mother from Brazil and a father from Cuba, and I have to guess on the mother's side, most likely, I'm going to guess Iberian Peninsula, probably Portugal. On my father's side, his grandfather is actually from Lebanon, and that's what I know on his side. I don't know where my father's grandma's from. I just assume Cuba. But, a lot of Cuban heritage is also African and Spanish, from Spain itself, because they were colonized by Spain a while ago. And now I gotta figure out, how much Lebanese do I have in me? That's the part I'm very curious about as well on my father's side. My grandfather told me that his father came from Lebanon, and when I tell people I have Lebanese mix, they're like, I kind of see it. So I do get Arab sometimes, and when I do tell them, they're like, yeah, Lebanon, that's the one, for sure. And they always say Lebanon. So I'm going to see to what percentage. I'm very curious because Abay, I kind of, grew up my whole life without knowing how to really pronounce my last name. At first, I thought it was Abay. Born and grew up in the U.S. I always heard Ben Abay, Benjamin Abay. Okay? So that's the way I heard it. Even my parents, I heard Abay sometimes, but not all the time. And, I only heard Abay when it was really used like in Spanish. When people say Benjamin Abay, that's my name in Spanish. When I say my name in Spanish, Benjamin Abay, they say Abay. They don't say Abay. Abay is more of an American way, of an English way of saying it. I kind of learned this more recently in the past 5 years when I started hanging out with my grandpa and my grandma, and they told me these things, and I was able to know more about like my heritage. And maybe we could talk about something in a different time. But I'm very curious to see what is the percentage. So I got this test, Ancestry.com. Yeah, I'm very curious on the Ancestry itself. I had the decision, do I go with 23andMe or do I go in Ancestry? The reason I went with Ancestry is because it's more about the genealogy. That's pretty much it. I want to know more about like names and like where people are from in certain areas. There's always an option if I'm really want to just see different results, and then we could experiment. Maybe a different video, do 23andMe. But this is something I'm very curious on. How much Arab am I? And also on my father's side, because I get my last name from my father and his father and his father. So it's actually pronounced Abay. So I don't know if it's Lebanese or, I'm very curious on the origin of that. And also on my mother's side is how much, where in Brazil, we get this, my family from, basically being half Brazilian and Cuban and a little Lebanese. I want to know which part of Brazil the Brazilian side is from. Not just what part, but like the origins of where they came from, basically. And that's why I'm doing this test. I want to know some names. I want to know some people. And listen, that's all I got to say. So next time, we're going to do a little more fun. Next time I talk to you, we're going to find out the results. All right? So see you soon. And we're back. Well, how long has it been? I gotta say, 3 to 4 weeks. So when I did this test, the last time you saw me, it was February 3rd. It is March 1st right now. And what is that, 3-4 weeks, give or take? We're gonna say about a month on the process, just from my experience. Okay, so this is the moment we've been waiting for. Well, the moment I've been waiting for. I'm sure many of you are very curious, but I'm pretty curious myself. I mean, it is my DNA. And yeah, let's see what we get. Because, on my mom's side, I was like thinking, what am I gonna get? Because I know she's from Brazil, and who was in Brazil before? Portuguese colonized Brazil, also Africans and native indigenous, but also Germans, Italians came there. On my father's side, he's from Cuba, and I heard a little bit of more of my roots and origins on my father's side, which was coming from Lebanon. And that's all I pretty much knew, and that's on my father's paternal side. So that's all I knew, and I'm very curious to see where do we go from here. We are on the website right now, okay? This is me. I am logged in already, ready to go, okay? And we got my grandma, my grandpa, great, not yet, but let's go see what I got in this little details DNA tracker. Benjamin's tracker. Hello. Okay. Discover your DNA story. And here's this map of the world. Okay. A lot of stuff right here. Okay. 40% Portugal. 20% Spain. 16% Levant. Your community with a connection to this ethnicity region. Northern Lebanon and Mount Lebanon. North Lebanon, 4% France, okay, 4% Wales, okay, very interesting. I did not really expect France or Wales, maybe more Germany, Italy, but I guess countries from Europe, I don't know, but I did think some African, being from Spain, being from having roots in Brazil and Cuba, it makes sense. There would be some African in there. 3% Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples. 2% Ivory Coast and Ghana. 1% Benin and Togo. Okay. 1% Northern Africa. Okay. So maybe I'm Moroccan. 1% indigenous Cuban, so they can't say I'm not Cuban. I'm 1% indigenous Cuban, okay? And 1% Ireland. So I got a couple places in the British channels over there in the UK. 1% Ireland and Wales. That's a big surprise. But yeah, 40% Portugal. That makes sense, considering half, of me is my mom. And she's Brazilian, and what I did know of her was Brazil, and pretty much usually the people from Brazil are from Portugal. So 40% is a lot, I think. Your ethnicity estimate is 40%, but it can range from 27 to 54%. Okay, it's a range. So they're not exact. These are all percentage-wise and timetable-wise. Okay. So 27 to 50%. So I could be over 50. Okay, let's not look too into it. But these are more ballparks, okay? And I believe they run these tests 4 times, multiple times. Your ethnicity estimate is 27%, but it can range from 23 to 44. Okay, Spain, which is pretty much all here. Okay. And it's showing in the middle here. I wonder if it's the same for everybody. Now this is the part where I was most curious, because I knew I had some Lebanese, some Levant in me on my father's side, but I didn't know to what extent. And I like how it says specifically Northern Lebanon and Mount Lebanon, North Lebanon. So it's very specific in the region. Levant, you see, look, it's very specific. So it's showing like Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, Syrian, Arab Republic. So pretty much this part right here. But I like how it goes more specific there. Your connections to this region is most likely through ancestor linked in this community, Northern Lebanon and Mount Lebanon. So it zooms in even there. And look at that. It's Lebanon and then Mount Lebanon. Tripoli, Bedeba, let's see. I'm not sure where the geography of the country is, so I'm not sure where. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see the specifics of this. I'm gonna see if I might dive into the family tree to see what we actually get in those regions, ancestries. But I don't think I'm gonna show that. I don't want to show too much of people. But this was the one I was most surprised with, France, and it looks like it's middle to southern France, which I guess can be found in some. You see, it does include Spain, Luxembourg, Italy, and Switzerland. So there could be some there. Oh, damn, it could be. So, after this is the third one. No, the fourth one, I'm sorry. After Spain, Levant, and Portugal is France, which is like 0 to 31%. That's a big percentage. It could be from nothing, basically, to like a third of me. Close to that. Let's see Wales. You see, Wales is 0 to 8, which is 8 could be a decent high amount. But look at that west side of Wales. St. David, Bangor. Okay. Guess I'm a little Welsh. Okay. Now let's see. You see, Africa is mostly the western part of West Africa. Okay, like Equatorial New Guinea, Angola. Okay. Yeah, but they say Cameroon, Congo, about 30%, which is 0 to 5. So the next one is 2%, which is 0 to 3%, which makes sense. So mostly Togo, Ghana, Ivory Coast, which is what they're saying. Okay. And Benin and Togo, right there again. So this is 0 to 3%. So they put that at 1. So they put Benin there. Okay. So what is that, about like almost 10% African at this point? Mostly European, and like 15%, 16. I mean, the Arab part is like stands out. It's like, because it's like, right here, and then it's like over there, and they kind of move here. And then it's like indigenous Cuban. That's a very interesting thing. It's like, my ancestor got a little freaky with some natives there. Maybe probably some wrong, situations, you don't know. Okay, like, and then there's Ireland. I guess more UK. Let's do that. Okay, I mean, Ireland's not UK, but you know what I mean, like that area. And it's more, yeah, Ireland, very specific, not Northern Ireland. Ireland, okay, 1 to 2%. So they put me on 1. So I'm like, I don't know, potentially 5% from, Ireland, Wales, which is like west. You see, it's like, I like how it's west, and like these are probably the travelers, that traveled and yada yada, went to Portugal. Because I could probably see right there, I could see which part came from which parent. So right here is my paternal. So most of my paternal comes from Spain, which okay, Cuba and Lebanon. This purple part is yeah, right here, perfect. Now let's see. This is me to the right, and to the left is my parents, which makes me up. So Wales comes from my father's side. Okay. So either the Welsh went to Lebanon or Cuba, something like that. And then the France is in this. So either France kind of mixed in with Portuguese, maybe down the line went to Brazil. Okay. There's African ancestry coming from both parents. Okay. And Ivory Coast, Ghana is coming from maternal, which makes sense. I believe Ivory Coast, Portuguese colony, also traded slaves from West Africa, probably going to Brazil. Benin Tongo on the father's side. But obviously slaves were brought to Cuba and both Brazil, and very small percentage North African, which is on the maternal side, which is, I wonder, how much relevant comes from the French, because a lot of North Africa and France kind of intermingle with, obviously colonization with France. And the very interesting part, indigenous Cuba, obviously on the father's side. And 1%, interesting, in Ireland, 1%. So we did a lot of colonization, and some took over more. But I like how that Arab Lebanese side is still part in there. It's pretty nice. But it's mostly European with a little bit, tiny bits of African on one side, and Arab and European. Yeah, pretty much what I thought. Obviously, I'm pretty surprised. Biggest surprise I've got to say is Wales and France. I do like how I have indigenous Cuba in there. I had some indigenous. I mean, it is 1%. I can't compare myself to others because I don't. You know, everybody has different results, and I wonder what do people have in their results? Like how much indigenous and native, do they have? Like when they say here, okay. So Cuba, Canary Islands, Uruguay. This connection is probably come from, ooh, the Canary Islands. That might be interesting. I might have some region there, and actually, this makes me want to visit Canary Islands. Hey guys, I'm related, but a lot of it's on the coast, so they probably went to Spain, had family coming from Spain, but like maybe stayed in the Canary Islands. I don't know if this was coming from my maternal or my paternal side. Maybe both, honestly. Because it is coming from Cuba, which is my paternal, but also maybe both, yeah. So the Lebanon part, see, the 1975 is later, so I feel like most of my family probably moved before that, from the early 1900s. So the 1825 is more, but North Lebanon is very interesting. I do like how it really puts a specific part of Lebanon on the map. And then there's Portuguese in southern Brazil, okay? And yeah, that makes sense because my family's from southern Brazil. Not that south, to be honest. That's what that's the Uruguay, of course. That makes sense. But yeah, you see, if I go to southern Brazil, if I'm talking about which part of Brazil specifically, it would be like Minas Gerais, and yeah, all of a sudden it makes sense. It makes sense. So, guys, am I surprised? Yes, a little bit. Am I happy? Yes, I'm very happy. I got my results. I wanted these results for so long. You could do the math on how many days I've waited, but I gotta say, I enjoyed it. I recommend it. This makes me curious to see other different types of DNA tests. Maybe if one day I will try 23andMe. Let me know. Por favor, ajuda. Like, let me know. Help me. Like, give me some feedback. Should I try different test results? Let's see, because it's very interesting. I know it's very specific to me, but I am pretty surprised. I'm shocked, and I'm very happy with the results because it's kind of what I expected, with a little bit of a plot twist, a little spice. Okay, so thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.